I don't know how we topped that one from earlier today, but we tried. They tried. They'll try at 7 o'clock, where the game tips off in Milwaukee with the Philadelphia 76ers lining up for the second night of their back-to-back following a loss to Indiana on Saturday. They're in Milwaukee on Sunday, and we're discussing that big game plus the other big game, the bigger game, if you will, right here on the PHLY Sixers pregame show presented by Bet365. Where, hey, man, we got a lot to talk about with Derek Bodner. I'm Devon Givens. Bree is hanging out with us as always. All of you, we thank you for hanging out with us because we know we're right along with you. We were doing the exact same thing, and we are just as fired up as you are. We have a lot to discuss. And again, just quickly, our pregame show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Big games for Philadelphia here, Derek, today, and whew, that was a tough one.
I texted you, Devon, like, you know, when about a half an hour ago when they were starting their final drive. I'm like, look, if this goes the wrong way, I don't know if I can do the pregame show, man. I'm just not going to be in the right spot for that. Luckily, we are here, and luckily, the game that we are going to talk about, the emotions are not running quite as high. The anxiety, you know, if it's a tight game in the fourth quarter, anxiety is not going to be quite as high, but we do get some basketball to talk about.
Yes, we do. But first, man, I mean, look, we all know, just your thoughts, the big game, moving on to the NFC Championship game. Jake Elliott with 2 missed extra points. The Rams down
It's some big
6.
field goals, though. It's some big field goals.
He did hit some big field goals, but those 2 points really bit them where we were feeling the way that we felt. For you to have to send that text in the first place was because of those 2 missed extra points that occurred, one early before the snow happened, and then later when the snow did happen in the guts of the game there. But they eke it out. Jalen Carter was fantastic on that final series there, where it was first and goal for the Los Angeles Rams. Big play by a big player in a big situation for an all-pro guy in Jalen Carter for what he did. We'll get to Saquon Barkley and all that stuff, but just your thoughts in general.
Well, I was going to say I have 2 thoughts. One is the worrying one because I worry about everything, and Jalen, you know, I'm worried. And 2 is thank God for the New York Football Giants and the decisions they have made because, whew, boy, did they need every one of those 205 yards?
Yeah,
every single one of them. It is really, look, that is playing football on that environment impacts the game in so many different ways. It makes it so unpredictable. But luckily, when you have a back like that, you always have a chance. And it was fun to watch. I wish it didn't come. You know, when they went up 2 scores like that, I was pretty confident. But the prevent defense always prevents
his second
you.
touchdown.
Yeah. The prevent defense always prevents you from being truly comfortable. And oh boy, I was convinced, man. Once they cross like the 40-yard line, I'm like, there's no way they're losing this game.
I was
gonna be a mess.
with you, man. I was right there with you because I was like, they have all 3 times. I mean, they have the timeouts. They're working the sideline. They're catching everything, and then they hit that deep ball to Puka Nacua along the right sideline. Darius Slay was fantastic all day, and that play
he just made a huge play right before that too.
Exactly, yeah, to force it to third down. He mistimed his jump, and Puka Nacua, you give him credit, of course, for being one of the best receivers in the NFL. Just makes a tremendous catch. So, just a nail biter that it was, made us all sweat. But they are moving on to the NFC Championship game, and if I had to guess, Derek, I would think that they would get the 3 o'clock slot next Sunday, and Kansas City will host that 6 o'clock AFC Championship game. If I'm guessing early.
We don't have a game next Sunday, right? So none of us have to worry about.
No, we do not. No, we do not. Bree made sure to let us know that.
We need to go to the championship game as a group then. Team bonding.
You are correct on the team bonding part there, man. Whew. All right, let's talk a little bit of basketball because we do have another big game. Second night of a back-to-back for the 76ers. And Paul George already, Derek, is ruled out. So is Guerschon Yabusele. He is also out for this basketball game. Joel Embiid, as we already know. Andre Drummond last night. So this is what we talked about last night, Derek, when we discussed Dembona, how well he played against against the Indiana Pacers last night. and what that might do for the confidence of the coaching staff. But that doesn't mean that they wanted him to potentially start. We'll get to the starters here shortly. That didn't mean they wanted him to start. We were thinking just in case Guerschon Yabusele does come back, that you have somebody that you can lean on to be a backup five. Now we're looking at, without getting to the starters yet, we're looking at a Dembona versus that front court of Giannis, Brook Lopez, and whoever else is out there for them, with Pete Nance probably playing some 5 minutes there in that backup role. So your immediate thoughts here as to that looking potentially being one of your starting front court players tonight in the Dembona.
I mean, my immediate thought is I went from, even though that wasn't like the highest level of play because of the weather, going from one sport being played at the highest level to another sport where Kelly Oubre Jr., Ricky Council, Justin Edwards, and a Dembona are starting. I am having whiplash to the highest degree. I cannot believe that this is the season, what the season has come down to. I cannot believe this is what we have chosen to do with our life. I love my job. I didn't think I would be covering 6 months of preseason basketball. This is a G League game. This is a process game. This is a disaster. That's my first thought.
This is really bad. The fact that, again, we were shorthanded, discussing how they were shorthanded last night. We were discussing all of that last night. And here we are once again, where the starting lineup that you talked about, and looking at Tyrese Maxey and asking him, and we were right to critique his game the way that we were 10 games ago. But now with them running these lineups out there, to have him as that one starting player with Kelly Oubre in this sense, but to do so, I mean, what are we supposed to do here? The level of play that we just saw in the equivalent of the second round of the NBA playoffs that we've seen the Sixers knocked out over and over again. And now we get ready for, will these guys what are we doing here with this basketball team as we look at this? The Denver Nuggets on Tuesday, they lose a game last night that they were in unexpectedly, playing much better than we anticipated. And then tonight if Yabusele is injured, he's injured. There's nothing you can do about it. Paul George, we already know what he's dealing with, and the same for Joel Embiid, out for those 7 to 10 days before he's reevaluated. So we can't. Yabusele has been the most, if you will, outside of Maxey, the most consistent guy, the one that you can rely on so much. This is the first time that he has missed games all season long. So it's not on him. It's just more of, look at where we are. As you just talked about, we just watched an amazing game between two outstanding teams, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Los Angeles Rams, for their sport. And now this should be a preview of some playoff matchup between the Bucks and the Sixers matching up at some point in the postseason.
The playoffs?
And it's not anymore, because one will be headed, the other one will not be, and we will be looking back when they're playing in the playoffs. Hey, remember in January where they ran out the starting front court of Justin Edwards with Ricky Council and a Dembona? Yeah, that's what we're getting ready for on this Sunday night. Cannot believe it.
No, you brought up Maxey, and like we've talked about this a little bit yesterday, but it's one thing. It's not like we want to give him excuses. It's just, this is not an environment where you can properly evaluate a player and their growth and their ability. Like, it's one thing. And look, I don't think Tyrese Maxey has shown he can be a number one option on a team and truly lead them. He is not going to elevate their ceiling in that way as that option. I think he needs to be a number 2 right now. I think he needs someone to be an MVP caliber player, and he is a great number 2. He is a guy who can elevate a team that is already in contention. So I think there are legitimate criticisms. He has to make growth if he needs to become that. And quite frankly, at 6'2", it's hard to be that. There are only a handful of players in the modern era who can be 6'2" and elevate a team and be the backbone of a team like that. And clearly Maxey has deficiencies that prevent him from being that edge case. But this is not an NBA team right now. This is not a serious basketball team. You cannot come out here and say like, oh, well, he didn't beat the Bucks, so therefore he can't be this or he can't be that. This game means nothing. It means something in the standings. Now, which direction you want them to go in the standings, that might be up for debate. It counts in the standings, but this is not real basketball. This is not an environment where really anyone would thrive. So, we're going to react to the game. We have to. We have a post-game show. We're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about what he did well, what he did poorly, but this is not an environment where you can take serious, takeaways from it. I can't believe we're here, man. It really
I mean,
is.
Vic says in the chat as our very last comment there, Sixers sacrificed for an
I'll take
Eagles
it.
ring.
I'll take it.
Yes, we will all take that. Yeah, we will take that for sure. Robert McMahon says, let's start talking about the rookie development. The tank is on. Well, that was our post game thumbnail for our photo after the game. The tank is on because as they roll out this lineup, Derek, and we'll get to again the starting lineup, at least show you what the graphic looks like of the starters shortly. When we start to talk about with 11 games now remaining, including tonight, what the trade deadline will look like, we're really starting to get a sense of what the trade deadline will possibly look like based on how they're running out these lineups from last night to tonight, and we'll see what it looks like on Tuesday. But this is not a lineup where you really believe you're going to go out there and defeat the Milwaukee Bucks, who have won their last 3. They've won 7 of their last 10. They have their starters. They're ready to go tonight. I have not seen Chris Middleton and what his availability was because he was on the injury report a little bit earlier. But as far as everyone else, they were ready to go. And Chris Middleton is available.
He was listed as available on the 5:30 report. Yeah.
Yep. So same on the 6:30 report as well. So you're not going to beat this. You're not going to beat this basketball team tonight by throwing this type of team. So they're kind of, at least right now, facing 11 games under 500 if they lose tonight. And maybe they're giving us a little bit of an indication of what things could be going forward as Rob asked that question or gives us that statement about let's just get ready for the rookie development because the tank is on.
Well, unfortunately, your main rookie is out of the lineup and out for the rest of the season. The Sixers have 8 players listed as out on the injury report. And that's not like 8 players because you have 3 in the G League. No, that's 8 NBA contracts who are not available tonight. It is, and by the way, 2 of the 3 people you really care about, and probably 3 of your 4 top players. It is, I don't know, and it really is, because on the one hand, like, we're getting real close to the tanking conversations, like real close. And look, Kyle and I sort of poo-pooed that earlier in the season. We didn't, we didn't think the Sixers would ever go down that path. It was early. Sure, we talked about some prospects, but we had one day and then we sort of shelved it in part because they won 10 out of 13 and gave us some false hope. But we're at the point now where you cannot be buyers at the deadline. You might find a player who you think can fit over a multi-year stretch, who will retain value, who's young and fits. That's fine. If you go out there, Santi Aldama is the one that gets brought up a lot, including by Hedva, especially in our diehard Discord. Go join. You can talk about all 4 sports, not just the Sixers, because obviously some sports right now are a little more interesting, but we will have some good conversations leading up to the draft. You can get a player like that who fits long-term, but you can't go out there and buy and give up assets for the hope that you try to win this year. There's just no way you can reliably predict that Joel Embiid is going to be on the basketball floor. And when you look at this team right now, it's just, I don't know. One of the big things is, all right, maybe you can't compete this year, but at least you could evaluate. You can get your big 3 on the floor. You can evaluate them together. You can evaluate, what you need alongside them, what kind of role players fit well alongside them. You can get them to build some chemistry, especially Paul George, who didn't seem like he was ever really had great chemistry with Embiid. I mean, they only played 7 or 8 games maybe together. It's understandable. You need them to get reps. You need them to get reps to build chemistry, to evaluate, quite frankly, Nick Nurse, who has been underwhelming for most of the year. I can't even, obviously, you can't evaluate Paul George. He's not in the lineup. You can't evaluate their fit with Embiid. I can't even really evaluate Nick Nurse at this point because certainly earlier in the season, I didn't feel like he was doing enough to help shorthanded teams win games. This isn't a shorthanded team. This is an abomination. There's no NBA coach that's going to go out there with the schedule that they have right now and make them competitive night in, night out. You're gaining absolutely nothing from this tough portion of the schedule and from this dreadful season. It's really turning into just a lost season, and it's eating away at my soul, Devon. It is eating away at whatever little bit of a soul I have left.
No question about it, man. And same for myself, Bree, and so many that we have in our chat hanging out with us on this Sunday evening ahead of the Sixers and the Bucks. We'll talk about it a little bit more. We'll give you the graphic, of course, for the Sixers starters tonight. And we'll also give our pregame picks, courtesy of Bet365. This is the PHLY Sixers pregame show on a Sunday. Big game, secured. Josh Harris's team is going to be in Philadelphia next Sunday. Which team is that, Derek? Next Sunday, Josh Harris's team. I don't know. We'll
Not the
talk
one we
about
talk
it all right here on the PHLY Sixers pregame show presented by Bet365.
All right, first off, we want to tell you about Ace Hardware. Ace Hardware Home Services, whenever they get ready for the next job, they remember what to bring. A pretty important detail. They bring experience, local plumbers and techs that handle everything from repairs and seasonal maintenance to installations and upgrades. They bring understanding. They listen to your goals, and the job isn't completed until you're satisfied. They bring helpful to your home so you can spend more time on the projects that really matter. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at www.acehardwarehomeservices.com to get you started on your next project.
And as we talk about the birds a lot here on the show today, we got to tell you about Golden Nugget Jewelers. While the birds are hunting down a ring, you can too. You can hunt down that ring as well and secure yours. Chestnut and 8th is in downtown in Philadelphia is where the location is for Golden Nugget Jewelers. It's a family-owned and operated business since 1987. You're getting engaged? You're looking to get engaged? They have a wide assortment of rings and wedding bands to fit anyone's style. You can receive a final cleaning and written appraisal with every engagement ring with purpose. Not just wedding jewelry, you can also find watches, diamond necklaces, diamond bracelets, earrings, and much more. That's all right there at Golden Nugget Jewelry on 8th and Chestnut in downtown Philly. You deserve an expert and the best price, Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. Head over to goldennuggetjewelers.com to learn more. Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers pregame show presented by Bet365. Hopefully they can get that ring, secure that ring, the birds, and make us all feel proud of, as Vic says, the Sixers sacrificing an Eagles title, and they are now 2 wins away from that. The snow outside, we hope everybody is safe with the snow starting early today, but it didn't really do much damage. And then later on, as the game really picked up, somewhere in that 3:30, 4 o'clock range, that's where 4 o'clock range where it really started to pick up right around halftime. And it really changed the complexion of that game. So I'm sure it changed the complexion of how many of you are commuting and out there and running around. If you decided that you're in the car and you put, oh, the game is coming on, let's turn on the PHLY Sixers pregame show. We hope that you are safe. And if you're at home, we hope the same for you, that you are all safe, nestled in, celebrating an Eagles win, and maybe a shocking surprise from your basketball team tonight on the road against Giannis and the Bucks. All right, let's show everybody the starters, Derek, because
now there was an
lineup,
update.
as you mentioned.
I don't know if you guys saw this. Justin Edwards has been taken out of the starting lineup, and Eric Gordon has been put in his place. Per Matt Murphy on Sixers, yeah.
Taking away his first career start. I mean, come on,
yeah,
man.
I don't know what happened. If they just changed their mind, decided they need more shooting, or if something happened to Justin, it's weird.
I don't like it. Well, Bree had that up anyway. Great job by Bree. That's not on her. That's on the Sixers. I sent that to Bree because that was there.
No, the Sixers official account sent out the starting lineup with Justin Edwards in it. It's not like we screwed up here.
Right. So we just want to let everybody know that we had it right, which was theirs, right from their account. So starting lineup tonight, Adem Bona at the 5, along with Kelly Oubre and Ricky Council in the front court. Eric Gordon now, according to Matt Murphy of the Sixers, with Tyrese Maxey in the backcourt for this starting lineup. So this has to be like the 75th starting lineup for Nick Nurse's team.
I think it's legitimately like 26 and 40 whatever games. Yeah.
Yeah. So, man, this just a tough one. So did not expect that.
I like how Devon says it's like the 75th starting lineup when we're only halfway through the season. Math might not have been your strong suit. I'm not sure. No,
but the jokes were, because it worked right there, because they've had way too many starting lineups this season. Again, one that we just haven't seen, and one that I did not expect. Even if Justin Edwards was getting his first career start, I'm sure he'll have an opportunity to start at some point during the season because of how things are going and the games missed of so many. But man, not the best one that we've seen, Derek, thus far this campaign.
Here's the wild thing. 26 starting lineups. I just went to Basketball Reference and confirmed it. There has not been a single starting lineup that has started more than 4 games. Not a single one. And quite frankly, there's only 2 that have started more than 2 games together. I have never seen anything like that.
No. Unbelievable. I mean, look,
sucks.
Yeah, I mean, again, man, and I know I keep saying it. And Kamel Emmanuel says, "Can Pete Nance play center?" He's gonna have to.
He's gonna
You
have
know,
to, yeah.
he's
Yeah.
your backup five tonight. I don't know how many minutes that is, and we discussed this last night. Adem Bona has an opportunity to, per the scouting report coming out of UCLA, what we saw at summer league and even in training camp, he is a guy who can be prone to picking up fouls, getting into foul trouble. There is a chance that we see some heavy minutes from Pete Nance if Milwaukee and Giannis and Brook Lopez and those guys, Damian Lillard, get into the painted area and get him into to some really tough situations where he's going to have to make a choice. Is he going to contest? I'm sure he's being coached up to try to stay down, not go for the ball fakes, and not being so overly aggressive like we see, which makes him. Those are some really good attributes for his game, but they can also get him into trouble. So, Derek, as Kamel asked us about Pete Nance, there's a good chance that we're going to see some Pete Nance minutes in double digits of Pete Nance minutes.
Who else would even be your backup
I
center?
don't, because KJ Martin is not available.
No, he's not
Yabusele
available.
available.
They've used Paul George at center a little bit, who famously said he was bored defending when he's playing center. Not the greatest choice of words, but he's not available either. They do not have there's no he has to play center.
Nah, Ricky gonna play some 5 minutes?
He might. He might.
Because he will battle. He's tough. He can get up there and at least contest when it comes to trying to rebound over those other guys. But I can't think of anyone else that's currently on the roster that would be in position to play front court minutes at the 5 outside of Pete Nance, and way down the list, Ricky counts as the 4th. No, I can't think of anyone else. Can you? I mean,
they're running short. And luckily, this is a I say that sarcastically. Well, a little bit luckily. The Bucks, almost by scheme, do not offensive rebound at all. Like, they don't pursue them. They for the most part prioritize getting back in transition. They're really good on the defensive glass, but they just do not prioritize getting offensive rebounds. So hopefully they're legitimately the worst offensive rebounding team in the league and the third best defensive rebounding team in the league. So hopefully maybe your size doesn't completely kill you in that regard. But I mean, they have so many other advantages they can exploit. This one might not matter all that much.
No, it might not. So it's, well, boy, yes, raise the cat. See if they can get some things done, man, because this one is not it. As I was even trying to put together, because the lineup and all being changed, I was even trying to put together everything for Bree to get her some Bet365 picks, because it is so tough with the way this one is setting the shape up tonight. And we'll have that in just a little bit. But more Jeff Doughton minutes, please. Larry K says, because I think I know where Larry K is. Tank mode. For if you want Jeff Doughton on the floor, you're asking for tank mode right now for the Philadelphia 76ers. Whew.
I mean, he's been of all the players, he hasn't been brutal the last 2 games. He's been bad for the season for sure. But they have so few people. Like, is he worse than obviously Kyle Lowry's not available, but like, he's probably an upgrade over Kyle at this point. They're so low on guards that he's, I don't even know what to say. There's no great solutions anywhere. Even if Nick was trying to win, like, I don't know which direction you would turn. They're just throwing out a bunch of 6'8" forwards and hoping that they can figure it out.
Yes, they are. So Winona says, why is PG still out? He's still dealing with that groin strain that has been on the injury report for a good little bit here when it comes to Paul George. So that's the injury report for him, groin strain. So they're keeping him out, making sure he's good. He is on the trip. He was on the bench last night in Indianapolis. I'd imagine he will be on the bench again and from Milwaukee, but this is what the hand that we are dealt right now for the Sixers. But the Bucks, Derek, right now, the Milwaukee Bucks are sitting at 23-19, and they've won 3 in a row, 7 of their last 10. Giannis is up for, in the running once again for most valuable player in the league, right there with Shea and Nikola Jokic, as usual. Damian Lillard playing much better this season. What do you make? What should we be looking for tonight against this Sixers group?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Bucks are a relatively flawed contender where you've seen their depth chipped away over the years, right? And Middleton, who's available, is a relative shell of what he previously was. Brook Lopez is 36, 37, somewhere in that range. And they've lost some depth because it's just tough to keep depth around in the current CBA. And they're still a good team because their MVP is on the floor and playing like an MVP. And Dame has taken a step up. And I think those two look a little more fluid and a little more comfortable around each other than they did last year. And star power, even on a flawed team, has a way of lifting. And the Sixers just haven't had their stars available. And there's two teams going in completely different directions. But clearly, like defending that, Giannis, especially in transition, getting back, matching up, not getting cross matches that he can exploit, because when he does that, he just goes right into you. So they're going to have to be real good about taking care of the ball. And if they turn the ball over, getting back. And then in the half court, being able to defend that two-man action that they have increasingly, like I said, I feel like they're getting a little more comfortable each and every day and becoming a little more dangerous because of it. And Lillard is having a much better year than he had last year. He's shooting 39% from three, averaging 25 per game. He has looked a little more like the Lillard that we knew in the past. So, look, if you're going to ask me how they win this game, luck, I don't know, luck and effort. Those are the two categories that they can hopefully try to exploit. Luck, you can't really control. Effort, you can. This is something that Kyle's been hammering. They have been pretty consistent in their effort for the most part.
Yes.
And when you have a season like this, especially one that seems like it's spiraling the way that it is, and key players who are out, and a whole lot of uncertainty, it's real easy to let that impact your effort. And for the most part, we can nitpick a game or two here. For the most part, that has been consistent. And every now and then, that kind of effort will create luck. And I guess you just got to hope that happens today.
They're gonna need a lot of it. They're on a 5-game losing streak right now. Tough matchup here against the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis and Dame and company. And you're doing so once again on the road. As you said, this is not just shorthanded anymore. This is ridiculous, having so many players on the injury report out tonight. It's almost amazing that we do have an opportunity to see Tyrese Maxey out there. I mean, right there, you're just saying you're tanking if Tyrese Maxey doesn't play, but the guy probably needs a day off, Derek, to be perfectly honest with you.
I need him under 35 minutes. That's my goal for today.
Yep.
Winning feels like an unrealistic goal. I need Tyrese under 35 minutes because you cannot run him into the ground. And I'm worried. And look, I get it. There's no one else to really play point guard on this team. You're just gonna have to find a way to get
not his fault.
Minutes without him. Yeah.
That's not his fault. That's not his fault. That's nothing that he did. He's been out there. He's been available, and we'll see what he does tonight. All right, let's get to our pick segment brought to you by Bet365, and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. All right, pregame pick segment. Let's get to it and let everybody see what I have put together. Tyrese Maxey, 20+ points. If he plays long enough, he should get that, even though the defense is going to be geared towards him.
Ooh.
And Derek, I went with a big one, a bang here. That's a big number, plus 1,200 for Giannis and a triple-double. Who's going to rebound? Who's going to stop him from rebounding on the Sixers side? Who's going to stop him from getting to any spot that he wants on the floor to get his double-digit points? And who's going to stop him from making the correct passes? And you know how it goes. All you need is a flurry. And when a flurry happens, he's making that pass. They're knocking down the shots. He might get that through 3 quarters. He might not play past the 3rd quarter into the 4th. But there's a real good chance that that guy gets a triple-double like he often does.
I like that, though, Devon, because I feel like when people talk about parlays, they either try to go find 2 or 3 things that have a real high probability of happening, or they just go big. And at this point in the season, just go big. Giannis has 5 triple-doubles so far this year. Certainly, this is a game where he is going to get all the opportunity in the world. Like I said, especially if the Sixers turn it over, he's able to get out in transition. That can lead to some assists. The only concern I have, outside of the fact that triple-doubles are still relatively rare, is he going to have to play enough minutes where he has a chance to get that? He could put up some big numbers in the first half.
There may be more of a chance for a double-double if people want to dumb that one down a little bit. Go with the Maxey 20+, go with the double-double instead of the triple-double, and get that, because to your point, we both just said it. is he going to be playing past the third quarter to secure a triple-double? More likely.
He's had a double-double. He's only not had a double-double in 4 games this year, which is actually pretty wild.
Yeah, and that's why I went with as you said, I'm taking the swing here. Take a swing. And our pregame pick segment brought to you by Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus, physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, if you're nuts like we are, we're about to watch a basketball game that we didn't expect to see this lineup versus another NBA team, especially one as the Milwaukee Bucks. But the Sixers and the Bucks do have a game to play. We have to talk about it. We'll be back after the game to talk about it here on the post-game show. Derek, any last thoughts?
We got to find a way to get tickets for next week. That's what we got to do. That's our job for this week, is to get tickets.
That is it. All right, for Derek and Bree, I'm Devon. Thank you all for hanging out with us. We'll be back post-game to discuss what happens between the Sixers and the Bucks. Maybe we're talking a little bit more from some quotes from the Eagles game as they head to the NFC Championship game. Maybe. We'll see how we feel about this one post-game. We'll have it all for you after the game right here on the PHLY Sixers post-game show presented by Bet365. We'll see you then.
We all silly like the